Fit Pro Podcast, episode 12, part 2.
I practice everything I preach. Everything I preach is what I'm telling myself. That's why my community, I feel, is, in my opinion, so awesome.
What up? Welcome back to the Fit Pro Podcast, listeners and fans. Before we get into the show, I just wanted to say a few words. As always, this podcast can be so powerful when used correctly, listeners. All you got to do is share it on your social media. If you find an episode that you really enjoy and you want to get the word out, share it on Facebook, share it on your social media. There's somebody out there that would think exactly the same thing. Now, example of this, today I had a young friend of mine approach me and say, Marv, I need some tips, I need some pointers on how to build this body of mine up so it's nice and strong and fuel it with proper nutrition. Naturally, I gave him some pointers, but then I also directed him to a podcast that I did previously where I had someone way more qualified than me talk about it. And that's the power of this podcast. It can be a resource for you. Now, we want this to be a resource for everybody, so make sure you're sharing the episodes you enjoy. Make sure you are subscribed to our mailing list. The mailing list, every single time a new episode comes out, boom, you will get an email straight to your email, obviously, and you can click play, you can click subscribe, you can click share. Make sure that you are subscribed to our newsletter, our update list. Go to fitpropodcast.com and you can check that out. That being said, let's get into the show. I believe that, again, outsourcing is very, very powerful for the jobs that, when you're aware of what you're good at and what you're not good at, becoming self-aware of that is very important. But also knowing where you can use your time a lot more valuable. Well, that's not a word. More valuable. Valuable. All right. Using your time to get the most out of it. And if somebody else can do your job just as well as you can in that one small area, outsource it and get somebody else to do it. Especially once you've reached scale, like Brett has, and you're looking at growing. It's very, very important. Now, Brett, we were talking about this before we started, but what is one of your most important tools, and what are you the most passionate about when it comes to marketing out your business?
Oh, one of my favorite questions. I'm super passionate about email marketing. So I think the number one thing that everyone can do right now, regardless of where you are in your business, is that you can start collecting people's email addresses. So even if you're just teaching in person in a studio right now and you have no idea if you want to take your business online or not, start collecting the email addresses of people who come to your classes. Ask them for their email address after class. Be like, hey, do you want to keep in touch with me and what I'm doing? At the end of the day, social media is great. Live streaming is great. All this stuff is so cool. But email is the only way that you can really own your customer, own that potential client, and know that you can communicate with them on a regular basis. So some of my big mentors and people that I really look up to, they say the same thing. It's like, email is the key to selling your retreats, the key to selling your eventual book, the key to asking people to join your member site. If you can't reach out to people, it's going to be really hard to grow your business. So it's great to reach out to people on social media and all the other ways that we do, right? Like YouTube, live stream, whatever. But that's not, with Facebook, for example, many people might have a Facebook page. They know there's something called reach, right? You may have, 20,000 likes on your Facebook page, but each post only reaches 500 people or 1,000. And even then it's what does that really mean? Right? Did they really see it? I have no idea. So, I think only have a social media strategy to the extent that it drives back to getting people's email addresses. And if anyone takes a look at my properties or the things I do online, it's I'm very active in social media, but all of it is with the aim of collecting someone's email address. So I'm always trying to drive people to incentives or downloads or challenges where I give them even more quality free content than I already do. in exchange for their email address. And then consistently email people would be like the next step. I think then people get hung up and they're like, oh, they're afraid to email their list. They're afraid to reach out. They're afraid to sell. They're afraid to, get in contact. And, that's something I also have to overcome and still overcome. I don't think there's any such thing as like emailing too much. So I'm constantly pushing myself to even email more now. And before I had a hang up, right? I was like afraid to email people. I was like, oh, I don't want to bother people. And, you just have to get that voice out of your head because that's just going to help you get nowhere. And I once had someone write in and complain, and they were like, I'm signed up for your email list, but I don't get enough emails, or like I haven't gotten one in 2 weeks or something. And when I got that message, I was like, you know what? Like some people actually like are really upset if they don't hear from me. So, you just get out of your own way and just put yourself out there. Like you deserve real estate in people's inboxes just as much as every other company that's doing that, right? Like I'm looking in my inbox right now. It's like all these clothing companies, like stuff I don't even want or have interest in, right? Like spamming my inbox. Like at least when I email people, like I'm delivering high quality content that I believe in, and B, it's going to make their life better because it's like fitness, it's yoga, it's mindset, it's awesome. So, compared to like, shoes or clothes or just, like I just try to feel good about it. So email is huge.
Email is massive. And from your point of view, what would be the easiest way for someone who's newly started a business to get involved? They haven't started any sort of email marketing. What's your go-to tips for starting?
So I would suggest you don't even need a web page or a website. You just need what's called a landing page. And a landing page is literally just a place where someone can enter their email. And it's nice if you give them a reason why, right? Like enter your email and get my free ebook, or enter your email and get my free yoga for abs class. I had that one for a really long time and it worked great. Something like that. And they can build one. There's a couple tools. You could Google like free landing page builder in Google, but I really love Lead Pages, which is a company that has just really easy templates and makes it super simple for you to set up. And there's like a dozen others, but I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I need this complicated, fancy website, and you don't. You just need a landing page to get started. And I'm constantly looking at my website and trying to figure out how I can make it less like a website and more just as a tool to collect people's emails. A couple weeks ago, I did something where I actually blocked all visitors from my website. Like you couldn't get to my website unless you entered your email address. As a test, I was sort of like figuring it out. But like that's the extent to how passionate I am about this. Like I would much rather collect your email than have you just kind of wander aimlessly through my website, right? So yeah.
How did that experiment go?
Well, I still need to look at the data. It didn't go as well as I think I hoped it would. But it also, my goals shifted a little bit because I ended up launching the membership early. And once I had the membership launched, I was like, oh, I don't want to, I'm constantly thinking about and optimizing again, what the best experience is, right? Do I collect someone's email and then invite them to the membership, or is the membership just a page that they can find themselves? I'm constantly sort of working through that, but I'd do it again. Let's put it that way. Like it wasn't an experiment in a bad way that like, and that's called gating your website for people who are interested, in that, or like I think it's called a welcome gate or something like that. And I would totally do it again because again, I really want to turn those YouTube viewers, those community members on Facebook, like into people who are on my email list. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it's very, very important. But taking it back a little bit, again, for someone who's brand new, what can you offer them in terms of a value exchange? Like, say, they don't have a book, they don't have a free bit of content they can give out. Again, you should have a free bit of content. But say they did like ground zero, they've just started. There is no value exchange proposition. Like you give me your email, I'll give you an ebook. What can they do?
That's a good question. I mean, I think before I had like a freebie or a giveaway my first couple years when I didn't know really what I was doing, I just had like sign up and get, it was just like, I think it was like get my weekly class delivered to your inbox or something. Or it was like, stay in touch for updates, sign up, like even that is better than nothing, because someone who's really passionate about your work will still enter their email. So I think just even saying like, I hate the word newsletter, so I wouldn't say like sign up for the newsletter, but like, stay in touch for updates, or like, if you're just teaching locally, you can say, get notified of schedule changes. I had that on my local page for a long time. And it had a place for them to enter their email, right? Because a lot of times at that time in my life, I was like subbing and taking on other classes, and people who were really into my stuff, I'm like, or for teachers I really love, I'm like, hey, if your schedule changes, I want to know, like I want to be there. So those are some ideas. But then my second thing is just like, there's no reason you shouldn't have a free piece of content to give out. Literally, you can write this. This wasn't me, but a friend I really like and admire, who's an online business owner, not in the fitness space, but one of his best little freebie or ebooks, he wrote on this is so something I would do. He literally like typed it on a treadmill in Google Docs, like sent it to his designer, and it was just like a top 10 list or like a cheat sheet of some sort that took him like 2 seconds, and it's his best giveaway, best opt-in that he has. And if you don't have a designer, like go on Fiverr and just pay someone $5 to like make your Word document a little shinier, and it can literally be so short. Or your video, and you can also sell your own time, right? You can say, enter your email and get a 15-minute consult with me. Oh my God, the options are limitless. Like I could brainstorm opt-ins all day. I love this stuff.
This is why I asked the question, because sometimes it takes another mind that is actually like, I'm not going to say obsessed, but it absolutely enjoys that field to actually like kickstart somebody else's mind. Oh wow, I could have done this. Oh wow, I could have done that. So great stuff there. Last question with email marketing. Again, you've got your lead pages, so you've got your funnel, you get your emails in. Do you then use Aweber, GetResponse, or an autoresponder in that way?
I do, yes. And the only thing I love more than email marketing is email marketing automation. So what that means is that you're emailing people in your sleep, basically. So when someone signs up, I started with MailChimp, which I think is a great, free one that everyone can use. I recently switched over to something called ConvertKit, which people can look up if they're interested, just because it allows better segmentation and, it's really great. It's a more user-centric approach instead of MailChimp's more list-centric. So, but anyway, MailChimp's a great place to get started. And then, I set up, so when I had my sort of empire built within MailChimp, it was like if someone signed up for my mailing list, I was emailing them, I think for about 7 months automatically, no matter what. So when someone was like engaging with my content or stepping into my community, they'd still get they were in the list, right? So if I was sending something live the next day, they'd get it, but they were also in an automation flow for about 7 months that was really touring them through my videos, all my free stuff, giving them tons of value, and then occasionally making offers. And the new system it's not as ninja amazing as I want it to be yet, because I'm still working on it, but I'm really trying to do even smarter email automation where I'm figuring out what people's goals are so I can sort of push them towards the right product or service, right? So an easy example of that, and I already do this actually, this is like a very simple example for people, but it's like what I would, offer in terms of great free content and products to someone who's brand new to yoga compared to someone who's a yoga teacher, because I also offer like online business courses for yoga teachers, is like completely different, right? Like I would not want to be sending those two people the same content. So, email automation can also really help you segment your users and figure that out. The level of granularity I'm trying to get to now is like within my sort of non-yoga teacher people. What's their big goal? Like, is it flexibility? Is it weight loss? Is it stress management? You know what I mean? So I can kind of nudge them in the right direction and talk to them in a way that's most meaningful to them.
Yeah. And look, that is going to obviously take a lot of time and effort, and a lot of testing, a lot of work. And I think people need to realize that it doesn't come overnight, especially when you're trying to get down to the level that you are. It doesn't come overnight. Again, I'm nowhere near where you are, and I've learned things today, and I think the listeners are getting great value from today's podcast. But moving away from email marketing, one of the main questions I asked a lot of the guests is, what was the low point? Because as a fitness professional, there is always, I don't know if there's always, but a majority of people get to a point where they go, it's a fork in the road. I can either go back to what I was doing before, or I could keep going with what I'm doing now. Was there that point in your journey so far?
There's been a lot of low points. I mean, there always are, right? I mean, from technology crashing and not working to, when people leave your membership, right? And sometimes you get nasty emails or nasty comments or, it's, sorry, say it again.
The haters.
The haters, right? Yeah. I think for me, the biggest low points have just really been around just exhaustion, right? Like especially, it was funny because I was in Los Angeles at the big YouTube conference, VidCon, recently, and there was a panel I went to that was really focused on fitness YouTubers. And one of the women said, and this had never even occurred to me, but she was like, I'm so jealous of the YouTubers who, like, beauty people, like they can just bang out like 10 videos in a row if they plan it. Like when you're physically doing stuff on camera, like it's a lot harder, right? I mean, I did a 3-day shoot last week where I filmed promos Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, I filmed 3 classes and 3 meditations each day. And I mean, I was so dead by the weekend. So anyway, just what we do is physical as well, I guess is my point, right? It's not just mental. So there have been so many low points. I mean, even yesterday was like, I had a really rough day. I ended up having teach classes at the studio that I didn't think I had to teach, sort of subbing for other teachers unexpectedly. I had, my designers InDesign crash. So we lost like a content calendar that I needed for the membership site, like already it was late, it's just like stuff. There's always stuff. And, there's always going to be multiple peaks and multiple lows and valleys. So, there's not one day that stands out as like the worst day ever, but I get frustrated and tired all the time. And
how do you get over it?
I just force myself to stay positive, and I force myself to get on my mat. Like, that's why I practice everything I preach. Everything I preach is what I'm telling myself. That's why my community, I feel, is, in my opinion, so awesome and so powerful, because it's not like me preaching to these people. It's like this close-knit group of people who are like committed to using yoga to lead our best life. So like yesterday, I knew yesterday was going to be really rough, but I set myself up for the day. I got up, I did 30 minutes of Kundalini yoga. I did a 15-minute meditation. I got up extra early in order to make the time to make that happen. And I had a super rough day yesterday. As I mentioned, like pretty much everything went wrong, but because I had grounded myself in the morning and taken that space, I was present and I was happy, and I was able to show up and, give my best. And if I hadn't done my morning yoga practice, that 100% would not have been the case. So that's why, again, I'm really passionate about yoga and people taking care of themselves. And, I have in my membership community, we have like a book club, and I give like, tons of insider advice about the book we're reading as well. And something we talk about a lot is like morning routines, right? Mindset work, setting yourself up for positivity. Journaling is another way that I do this. I'm constantly writing positive affirmations, constantly like forcing myself to think positive all the time. I did a live stream on this recently that's actually on YouTube because it was good, so I reposted it to YouTube, I thought. But I literally talk about policing the voices in your head, like blowing the whistle, like the cops blow the whistle anytime you have a negative thought creep in, and just get it out. Because the science of yoga is all about mind control. It's ninja mind control amazingness, what the Yoga Sutras and this practice teaches, to be aware of our own thoughts, right? To like think about, be the awareness behind what we're thinking, and that we can dictate our reality through what we think. And, to a lot of people that might sound like wacky or hokey, and like, I totally get it. I used to be that person too, but this is the only option I see, right? Like, it's so empowering to think this way. So I choose to think this way, that like by constantly staying positive and focusing on what I want instead of the negative, that I'll get where I want to go.
100%. I think my listeners do get it. I drum it into them a lot. My community does get that mindset plays a massive role in a lot of people's success. And Ninja Mind Controlled Amazingness, that might be the title of this podcast. That was awesome. Absolutely. And Brett, now we're coming to the tail end. We've been on this episode for an hour or so it will be 2 episodes. But what would you say is your best resource for anybody that's wants to get started, or is getting or has gotten started in the online space? Is there any sort of online resource that you used when you first started?
I think the trouble is there's too many resources. Like, you can get totally terrified just by seeing all the stuff that's out there. Like, there's so much you should be doing, right? As like an online business owner, right? Like, you should have a podcast and a website and an email funnel and a landing page and a da-da-da-da-da-da. So, I mean, my big advice would be for people to start with email, like just start figuring out a way to collect people's email addresses as like your first step. Because even if you're not even going to email them for like a year, just start collecting. Like, that is the biggest thing you can do right now. And then if people are in the fitness space, like in terms of, things that I would push them towards, I actually have my own courses that are, again, whether you're fitness or yoga or whatever. I do have like I think it's called the Yoga Business Academy. I made it a couple months ago, but I talk about lead pages in there. I talk about how you can sort of set up at least like this initial funnel, right, of collecting people's emails and having it hook up to MailChimp. And I actually screen share and sort of show you exactly how I did it and what it looks like on the back end. In that Yoga Business Academy, there's also like tons of stuff about like sequencing and how to score studio jobs, especially if you're not confident like I was. There's like a lot of great tips. Some are more yoga specific, some are for fitness professionals in general. I think they'd benefit. So yeah, I can share the URL for that. I'm trying to find it myself, but because a lot of the times I sort of hide my sales pages because I want to collect people's emails first. But I just found it. It's brettlarkin.com/YBA. So that stands for Yoga Business Academy. So it's just brettlarkin.com/YBA, those 3 letters, and that'll take them to a lot of the things that I talked about. I also have social media trainings in there for Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that.
Perfect. And Brett, do you read much personal development?
Yes. I love personal development.
What's your favorite book at the moment?
So at the moment, I don't know if it translates to a personal development book, but whatever I'm really into and passionate about too, I also make my whole community read, and we read it together as part of the community. So it's really fun. It's basically like a way that I force friends to have, or force like myself to have friends to talk about the book with. Yeah, exactly. So 2 of the ones we read recently or actually I can say 3 books that I really love. Why not, in terms of personal development? So I really love The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. That's a lot about writing and journaling, which I think is really powerful. It's a huge part of what I do. I love The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, obsessed with that book, and I'm really into morning routines, and it ties into a lot of mindset work as well. So I highly recommend that one. And the one we're reading right now in the community is called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, which, again, the first half of the book is not awesome, but the second half is like totally mind-blowing, and everything she's talking about is so zen and so yogic. And that's really just, it's about cleaning your house, which sounds unglamorous, but it's actually really awesome. So those are 3 books, self-development books, that I would recommend that I really like.
Perfect. And are there any podcasts you're listening to at the moment besides this one and your own?
Yeah, so I have my own podcast at brettlarkin.com/podcast if people want to check that out. And I really love everything Chalene Johnson does. I'm a huge Chalene Johnson junkie. So she has 2 podcasts. One's called Build Your Tribe, and the other is called The Chalene Show, I think. I really like her. And then I really like Zach Spuckler, who is really into live streaming. Again, Chalene's in the fitness space, Zach's not. But I really learned to live stream from watching him, and I really like his podcast. I think it's called Heart Hustlers with Zach Spuckler or something like that. And it's all about like heart-driven entrepreneurs. So those are 2 podcasts I really like. And of course, check out my podcast if you want, motivation. It's very much like motivation mindset and talking about yoga and yoga science tricks and philosophy. It's not like doing yoga on a podcast. So people are excited to check that out as well, just to clarify.
Audio guided yoga podcast.
Yeah.
Now, with your podcast, what days can the listeners expect the episodes to be coming out on?
So we mentioned this before I talked to you. My YouTube schedule is really set. I release new videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday. With the podcast, it's more sporadic. There's constantly new episodes coming up, but sometimes it's like I'll release 3 at a time, right? And there won't be anything for 2 weeks. And then sometimes it's like regularly once a week. So I don't have it as regularly as I would like. That's something I'm working towards. But there's, a good 30 or so episodes in there if people want to go and check it out, of stuff that's really fun. So, brettlarkin.com/podcast if anyone wants to check that out.
Perfect. Now, Brett, before we go, do you have any parting words, any bit of parting motivation for the listeners today on taking action now?
Well, you kind of stole my words. Take action now, but I would definitely say, just get into action. Like, resist all the voices, resist all the fear, and whatever you're going through, share it with your community. That's another thing that I'm also trying to take to the next level. I had a meeting when I was in LA at VidCon with a, big agent management company, and, she was encouraging me to be even more I'm so open and vulnerable. And she was like, you should be even more open and vulnerable on your YouTube channel. I think especially in the fitness industry, it's like we think we need to be perfect and we think we need to have perfect bodies. And, people, that's not why people will buy your stuff. People will buy their stuff because they feel connected to you, because they feel like you're real and you care about them. And, we're blessed to live in this time of like Snapchat and live stream. And it's never been easier to get connected with people in a real, authentic way. So in addition to just getting into action, like just have it be raw, let your mistakes shine through. I'm constantly asking my audience what I should title stuff, and their ideas are like 5 million times better than mine. So it's like, it's not like you need to have all the answers. The best way to connect with people is to sort of like show your vulnerability. And, I think that can be a huge stepping stone into getting into action right now. And then the other thing I just say is take care of your own body, and a lot of what I teach is like from stuff I've invented because I'm so busy, like how I stretch all the time. Like I'm stretching as we record this right now. In like a weird seated position way. So, people who are also, interested just in, how to stretch while you're typing on the computer and just sort of like keeping yourself in check. If they go to brettlarkin.com/hacks, HACKS, I have all my hacks there that you can download in a little ebook that also goes more into my personal journey that I think people in the fitness space might like. So yeah, get into action now. It's never too soon to start. Life is now.
Get into action now and be real. As well as I look forward to seeing the YouTube video of you stretching while doing a podcast.
Awesome.
How to stretch while being interviewed on a podcast. I think we've had a great time today. How can the listeners contact you on social media? Where are you?
Sure. So I've thrown out some URLs, but the number one thing to do is to make sure you're on my email list. I mean, who would I be to do my whole email marketing spiel and then direct you elsewhere? So I would love for you to get on my email list. Again, brettlarkin.com/hacks is a great one for all my hacks and that ebook, again, about my personal story and how to stretch all the time. brettlarkin.com/motivation is also a really awesome free training call that teaches you how to think positive and always get on your mat no matter what. So that's another great one that you can get, brettlarkin.com/motivation. But in terms of social media, obviously I'd rather you get on my email list, and you should tell people the same. But social media is fun too. You can find me at Larkin Yoga TV, LARKIN Yoga TV on Instagram and Periscope, where I live stream. Brett Larkin Yoga on YouTube, at Larkin Yoga TV on Twitter. Yeah, I think people will figure it out. You can also Google me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I think the listeners will definitely take away some valuable content from today. And look, I would highly recommend jumping on all of Brett Larkin's stuff and checking it all out, jumping on her mailing list.
And jump into the Facebook community too, actually, especially if you're thinking of maybe starting your own Facebook group. It could be helpful for people to sort of see how that all goes down. If you want to do that, that's Yoga Hacks Community, yoga, HACKS community.com will redirect you to the free Facebook group.
Look at you go.
Sorry, I knew I had forgotten something.
That's all good. Look, you practice what you preach, and I love that. I really do. And I appreciate you coming on the show, and I'm sure the listeners appreciate you too. But Brett, again, I've done a few podcasts now. I never know how to end these damn things. It's not like I can say goodbye to anybody. But yeah, Brett, thanks for coming on. Listeners, thanks for listening, and we will catch you on the next one, I guess.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks so much. Take care.
We'll do it again sometime, Brett. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one. Hello, listeners. If you liked that episode, make sure you head to fitpropodcast.com and leave a review on the podcast. Let Brett know what you feel by contacting her on her social media, or just leaving a message on our Facebook page. What is it? www.facebook.com/fitpropod. That being said, listeners, enjoy the rest of your week. I will catch you again on Friday. Peace.